has been talking about innovation in multiple areas. Somebody talked about manufacturing, somebody talked about innovation in overall space, somebody talked about process innovation. But I would be touching upon banking innovation and innovation majorly in fintech industry. So before I start, there's a question to everybody, people to, whoever is out there also, I want everybody to participate. What was your experience 10 years behind when you had to pay bills? Ma'am, if you could answer. What was your experience 10 years behind when you had to pay bills?
We had to go physically and stand in the long queues.
Correct. Apart from that, anybody else from here? It was a time-consuming journey.
We had to carry exact change.
Exact change, yeah. I mean, that was a...
Yeah, there's a long queue, and sometimes even these documents are required by the government. So while I was at a utility, and even those, like, still they say we'll stand in the queue and deposit. So yeah, that's has its own experience, but that's where system evolves.
Correct. Somebody from here, from this table?
So miss out on the due dates.
Very correct. Miss out on the due dates. How about you actually going into the line, standing there, and the shutter closed down? Yeah, that's a dilemma, and that's like, oh, I have to rush, I have to be before 1, so that the counter doesn't get shut down. It's a nightmare. I mean, imagine, and this is one challenge that I have spoken, but imagine if I had to travel to multiple places. How many bills, does a consumer pay? Anybody?
This is one side only is told, the consumer side.
Yeah.
You see the company side, there are
Yeah,
lot
I
of
was
frauds.
coming to that. Yeah, you can say so.
Lot of frauds. The process collecting the money was going, not depositing the money in the company itself. So that
Correct.
was a challenge in the company,
Yes.
beside the consumer.
Very correctly said, sir. Apart from that, how many bills do you pay? He rightly said it's not only at the consumer side. There's a story at the corporate side also, and that's what I'm going to cover today. But what's the average number of bills that a consumer pays? Anybody?
15.
15, yeah. Somebody here? 10. Yeah, so in average it's 8 to 10 bills that a consumer pays. So imagine 8 to 10 years back, traveling to 10 places. Nightmare. Go to a mobile office at Vodafone. I still remember going to a Vodafone office and paying my bill, because at that particular time Vodafone had just launched its app. Imagine going to a water center to pay bills. Nightmare. Or maybe go to a bank branch to pay bills. It's very difficult, and that's what I'm going to touch upon. What were the major ways that a corporate had to go through? How does a corporate, initially, how does a corporate pay its bills? It has to serve minimum 50 to 100 employees, or maybe 20 to 30 employees. What were the primitive ways to pay? Anybody? Though I have listed here, but somebody from the corporate who has been there for a longer period of time, what were your early ways of paying your bills for your vendors and everything? How was that possible? Cash. Yes, predominantly cash. People from behind, if I can have your attention, what were the primitive ways of paying bills? Can somebody give a mic?
There is an ecosystem also what evolved. Somebody take a money, service charge, and pay the bill.
Correct.
Go physically and remit it to the bank.
Go physically and remit it back. Anybody from here?
So there was long and cumbersome process, right from one person to 10th person or 11th person. The process and the documentation goes on and on.
True. So it's a difficult step, and that's where I've been talking about 3 major steps which I still call primitive. Branch banking. Imagine a corporate guy who has a CASA account had to actually go to the branch to enable that his employees get his salaries. second primitive way, corporate banking. What's the problem in corporate banking? Anybody who has been using corporate net banking? What has been the challenges in corporate net banking? Anybody from here? Yeah, ma'am. Can you give her a mic?
And you'll have the payee details and long account numbers, and you may make a mistake, and then you have to wait for at least half an hour for it to be verified before you can make a payment.
Rightly said. So there are three major steps in a corporate net banking. One, I had to cull out the data from my accounting software. It could be Tally, it could be Zoho, etc. At that primitive time, we had majorly Tally into force. The second step was uploading the data in a corporate net banking portal. And very limited people had the knowledge and access to do that. The third problem was, once the data came out, there were multiple check fields, like she rightly said, there were multiple fields and approvals for documentation to be put in. And the third step was tallying that data with your, again, ERP or software and everything. This was for just one bank account. Imagine companies having multiple bank accounts. I still know, at least for my company, when I started off, my journey, I was at Axis Bank. I still remember a guy coming to me and saying, "Sir, do you have a solution where I can look after my multiple bank accounts?" This guy was an, owner of a company who had 5 bank accounts. He had 2 at Axis, 1 at ICICI, 1 at Federal, and 1 at SBI. Was it possible for that consumer to switch bank accounts and look? Very difficult journey, tallying multiple accounts. Okay, then in 2015-16 came a solution called Natch. Anybody who knows about Natch or heard about Natch? Anybody from here?
Using it. I don't know how.
Okay, somebody from here? Yeah. Automated clearinghouse, what does it do? Kind of pay your bills, okay? Okay, so Natch came into picture, which is National Automated Clearinghouse. RBI was predominantly in this picture. It wanted to create innovation and market, and it came up with the concept of Natch. But Natch at a particular period did not pick up because everything was file based. When I mean file based, paper को अगर मैं Word documents या PDF में convert करूँ and then again uploading that particular thing, it doesn't make difference, right? Is it automated? No. The guy had to still upload files. The guy had to still process it. Everything was file based during 2016 and 17. So still a corporate found 3 difficult challenges. One, how do I pay salaries to my employees? Second, how do I do vendor payments? Third, what are the difficult challenges for him to do reconciliation between having multiple bank accounts and also tallying it with his accounting software? So, that's what I talked about, its difficulty in tracing payments. Sometimes I, like the owner that when I was in Axis, the owner had to actually switch multiple bank accounts. But some of this today has been, at least for a consumer perspective, been solved by one of the greatest innovation in payments. Can anybody tell the greatest innovation in current payments? Digital payments, UPI, yes. What's UPI? Can anybody throw a light on what's UPI? Everybody has been using. How many of you have been using UPI? Only few. I thought everybody would be raising their hands. Yeah, so what's the new innovation in UPI? Can anybody throw a light? Somebody from the back? Yes. What's UPI? Somebody from there?
Entered into overseas market.
It has entered into overseas market. But what did it solve? What did it solve?
Account number.
Without number, yeah, somewhere there. Yeah.
very simple. It links mobile to your
It
bank
links
account.
your mobile, that's a simple definition. It links your mobile to your bank.
2-3 steps you are able to
2-3 steps, that's it, enough. What were we using before? We were using IMPS. We were using Aadhaar based payment. What were the problems in Aadhaar based payments and IMPS? Does anybody know? Anybody who's used Aadhaar payments or IMPS? Anybody from here who has used IMPS? Have you heard about IMPS, guys? You have heard about the term, right? Yeah,
Instant money transfer that IMPS.
correct.
Generally for that you have to log into your net banking at least.
Okay.
And then
Yeah, some. Yeah.
You have to add the entire details of the person.
Very correct, very correct. So, though the term was immediate, it was not immediate, at least initially. Why was it not immediate? So, let's say I have Vaibhav here, my colleague. I wanted to send money to Vaibhav. The problem of sending money to Vaibhav for the first time was I needed to know the exact bank account details of Vaibhav. I also needed to know that IFSC code of Vaibhav, bank account that he's linked to. The maximum errors happened in the IFSC code itself. The third is this was okay, this was still okay. But imagine I had to send Vaibhav an immediate payment. Okay, and there's an emergency that Vaibhav needs this money for. What was the challenge? I had to wait for 24 hours. So the name was just immediate payment services, but I had to still wait for 24 hours to send money for the first time. Isn't it a practical challenge? I mean, imagine waiting for 24 hours when there's an emergency to send a payment. So somewhere it didn't pick up. Corporates also had to go through the cumbersome process of adding account number, details, blah blah blah, wait for 24 to 48 hours for that to get activated and then send money. Then came in Aadhaar banking or Aadhaar payments. What were the challenges in Aadhaar payments? So if you could maybe guess what could have been the possible challenges? Biometric. Apart from that, do you know your Aadhaar number, sir? Do you know your Aadhaar number by heart? So it's difficult for a person to know his own Aadhaar number. Imagine if I had to send money to Vaibhav, I needed to know his Aadhaar number also. So government was pushing a lot, Aadhaar mandatory hai, Aadhaar is compulsory. But at the same period of time, I won't call this innovation. I was saying creating innovation in a time where everything was supposed to happen in a fast manner, but it actually created a lot of hustle. There were 50 to 60% of transactions that got rejected because neither I knew my Aadhaar number by heart, neither I knew Vaibhav's Aadhaar number by heart. Chalo, मैंने Aadhaar number ले भी लिया, even if I took Aadhaar number. Okay, then after that, inputting also became a challenge. 4 की जगह 3 हो गया, 2 की जगह 1 हो गया. So sending money again became difficult. But UPI solved the entire challenge. UPI was just mobile number @ your VP. And that's where, corporate payments also, when we are talking about consumer-based payments, UPI was an innovation. And my topic, connected banking, I would call is the UPI of, the UPI of innovation, or I would call innovation in corporate payments. What is connected banking? Simply if I say, I just go onto a portal and I add my bank account. Now who am I? I am a company or a corporate who wants to give salaries to his employees, who wants to give, do vendor payments, who wants to do GST payments and multiple such things. I just go onto the portal, add my bank account, done. Everything gets linked. It's just like UPI, remember. Why am I comparing it with UPI? Because UPI was majorly thought from a consumer perspective, though the use cases are getting evolved now. But the innovation was more from I wanted to send money to Vaibhav, a P2P payment. Vis-a-vis connected banking is simply a corporate adding his bank account on a ERP based solution, or somebody who's providing connected banking, fintechs and startups who are providing connected banking. They just have to log into the portal and done. Everything gets seamlessly integrated. They can register their vendors, they can do payments, everything does through one app. But what was there before connected banking was virtual account number. So again, connected banking did not come into picture early. I mean, everybody knows about Paytm now, right? Paytm had this concept of wallet, which was predominantly used, like anything. So UPI also came in afterwards. Earlier, everybody were using wallet, but similarly, corporates also were using something called as a VAN, a virtual account. So everything was linked to the virtual account. But what were the challenges in virtual account? Can somebody say what could have been the possible challenges in virtual account? Sir, if you want to maybe. What could have been the possible challenges in virtual account? So virtual account was similar. It was like a dummy wallet. Similar, like if a customer ka khud ka app hai, he had it in his Paytm wallet. This was similar, where a corporate had a virtual account linked to either the company's bank account or some other bank account. So what were the possible challenges in VAN or virtual account? Can anybody specify what were the similar to what Paytm wallet has an issue? If somebody wants to answer, yeah, ma'am.
We can only use that money through Paytm.
Correct, very correct. So I could only use that wallet or that particular, source of money in that particular area. And there were a lot of frauds that started happening. When we're doing innovation, when those three challenges and when we moved to VAN, everybody was so happy, that we are starting to automate payments. We're starting to automate corporate payments. People started sending salaries through their VAN, but it had a lot of potential challenges. The money had to circle around. There were a lot of frauds that were happening in the market. And it became very difficult. So though, it became difficult. So what was the easiest solution? Instead of creating a wallet, it was easier to connect your own bank account, similar to UPI, which means if Prashanth Enterprises had his own company, he just had to open his current account or link that particular. This is a simple thing that we are showing you. So let's say if I have an Axis Bank account, I just have to fill in my details for the first time and my entire account gets reflected. Do I have to go to my Axis Bank net banking every time? No. What is the benefit here? The benefit here, it's not only Axis account, I have multiple bank accounts that I can link to. Similar to what UPI is solving, connected banking is an innovation in corporate digital payments. It fetches your account details. It gives you live details of your transactions. It gives you your balance history. Similarly, what you're doing for UPI. In UPI, how many of you have been using Google Pay here? Many, right? Are you able to link 2 to 3 bank accounts? What's the benefit in linking 2 to 3 bank accounts? Anybody? Yeah.
Single interface.
Single interface, yeah. Apart from that, one is single interface. I'm getting everything on one platform. Yes.
One bank server is down, we can use.
Very correct. BCP. If there is an issue at one bank, I always, I am sorry here, I'm not, but HDFC Bank, I always, I have an HDFC Bank account and an Axis Bank account. Whenever I pay the auto person sometime, there's always a problem. My HDFC goes down, so I immediately have to activate my Axis account. So, why? Because whenever there is an issue at one bank account, their services are down, I have that immediate another account active. And sometimes vendor payments become so important, you have to give the vendor payment on time, or there are penalties. Linking multiple bank accounts on one platform becomes very easier, and that's connected. The name itself suggests everything is connected on one platform, similar to UPI. What is UPI for consumers? Connected banking is that to the corporates. So what are the use cases and features? One is majorly, it's one of the innovation in payments, but would I call this innovation? I'll come to the last slide on that. I'm sorry. What are the major use cases in terms of this thing? Is, as I already said, everything is on a single dashboard. Everything is on one place. I have multiple banking partners. Everything is getting digitized. But the question here is, does it solve an entire purpose for a corporate is the question. And this is a question in terms of innovation that I'm asking to everybody, because that's the topic of the day. Does connected banking solve 360-degree problem for a corporate? Anybody from here? Hope you understood the concept before I go on to the last 1 or 2 slides. Any questions on the concept? No, suppose. So, yeah, what is it solving? Does it solve a 360-degree problem statement? The answer is no. Ma'am, can you give me an experience of taking a broadband connection at your home? What are the steps that it took for you to take a broadband connection? Yeah, Wi-Fi. One click only. But how did you go about that process instead of correct? So the first step would have been, if you could just give me the steps that were involved. Installation. So the first step would be checking which broadband player I need to go with. Second would be in terms of checking the overall bandwidth plan that I want to take. Do I want to take Jio? Do I want to take Airtel? Or from Airtel, which plan do I want to take? Then contacting that particular guy. Then getting that guy to do the installation. After that, checking whether it's working in each and every room. Correct? Then comes the initial deposit that you pay for the router and everything. Then you get the final leg, which is the payment. How many steps were involved before payment? 6 to 7 steps, which were everything was offline. Correct? And then after payment, what were the issues that you're facing? That's again offline. You call the call center. There's bandwidth issue at my home, Then you have the issue in terms of changing a plan. Do you get that on one interface, ma'am? No. So that's where we are going towards going beyond connected banking, which is today the major innovation is not only payments. It's the leg before that and after that. Imagine if I am an education, because I have people from Indira College here. Imagine if I'm an education society and I'm using connected banking. But what are the steps that I need to do before? I need to have everybody on one platform, which could be, for example, getting all contacts of the vendors added on one platform. Then I'm actually inviting them for payment. I have multiple services added onto the platform. Yeah, there's a question back. Then there's a purchase that I want to create. Then there's orders that I want to create. Sales, multiple invoicing, then going to payments. So payment is just, and connected banking and payments is just a last leg. But the entire journey before and after that defines innovation beyond connected banking. And there have been multiple players, including us, who have come into this field who not only give connected banking, but you are able to do payments, you are able to add people. Like an example, if I want to add my electricity vendor as part of that particular platform, that's beyond connected. If I am able to resolve those issues on that platform through their APIs, that's beyond connected banking. Which means, I'll just give an example and wrap up the session. So if I want to do a payment to a particular vendor, there are multiple legs before and after that. So inviting that vendor, registration of the vendor, issue resolution, contact person details, selling an invoice to them, payment to that particular thing. After that, complaints, notifications, everything integrated onto one platform is something beyond connected banking. And that's the real innovation, which I think what we are trying to resolve for corporates, where he had actually, imagine, I'm going back to the same question. Imagine you traveling to a place to go to pay an electricity bill, but that same bills for a corporate could be resolved through innovation in connected banking and stitching the end-to-end layer, which is solutions and payments embedded together. So that's how I think we've been innovating a lot of things, be it in metaverse. We've tried to create a metaverse where your avatar could actually go and do payments on a mall. So that's how we have been creating innovation and connected banking, stitching the legs before and after that is the entire solution that we are presenting. That's it. Any questions?
In this session.